Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel. So today I'm doing my most anticipated releases. These are some of my favourite videos to film. If you're new to this channel or you haven't seen my content for a while, the way I do it is I split the year up into 3 months, and I do these videos every 3 months and cover like the next 3 months of releases. This one's going up super late, so this is July, August and September releases. I will link down below my other ones for the year, so the January, February, March ones and April, May, June ones. There's quite a lot this time around, which is really good, so I'm going to limit it to like a sentence per book. Some of these I have read, so I will talk more about them if I have read them. But yeah, let's start going through them. I'll start with the July ones and work my way up to the September ones. So the first one came out on the 7th of July and it's a horror book and it is called Escape Room by Maren Stoffels. This is actually a translated book. There's another one later on by the same author which is also translated. I can't remember the original language it's translated from. This is a horror book about a bunch of teens who go to an escape room and then horror things happen. I've been very into escape rooms lately, and I watched one of the movies. There's a couple of movies called Escape Room and really enjoyed it, and there's a thriller called Escape Room which I also have to read. Yes, this sounds great. The next book is also out on the 7th of July and this is The Shadows by Alex North. This is a thriller with kind of strong horror themes to it. It's definitely more of a thriller. I've actually read this one as well. I listened to the audiobook of this, I got it from NetGalley. This is about a man who, when he was a young boy, he was friends with this other group of boys, and one of the boys was accused of murdering someone, and he vanished. And it's told kind of with flashbacks to that event, and also in the present day, there's someone mimicking the same murder method, and they never ever found the boy who vanished, so the main character's like, maybe it's him, maybe he's come back. There's also like supernatural hints to it. The boy talked a lot about, I think it was the red-handed man, something like that. And there's all these creepy stories going on. Can't really say much more about it, but I really liked it. I didn't love it, but it is really good. It's a really solid thriller. I think I gave it like either 3.5 or 4 stars. The next one also comes out on the 7th of July. It's a very different tone than I normally read. It is a romance, and that is One to Watch by Kate Stayman-London. So like I said, this is a romance. This is about a plus-sized woman she's in love with this reality TV show, and then she actually gets invited to go on it, and it's like a dating show, think kind of like Love Island type thing. And she's determined that she won't fall in love, but she's willing to like pretend to be in a relationship. And of course she starts to catch feelings for someone. I love books about reality TV, and I think that this has the potential to be really great if it's kind of like done well, and I'm hoping it will be. Next we have another horror release. This one comes out on the 9th of July, or came out, and this is Harrow Lick by Kate Ellis. I'm super excited for this book. I've not had the chance to pick it up yet. This is about a girl who is the daughter of a famous horror movie maker, and he is attacked, I believe, so she's sent to go live with her aunt, and her aunt lives where one of his most famous horror films was filmed, this lake. She goes there and there's a whole bunch of people who've gone missing there, and there's like a creepy story going on, and this is so many elements to be excited for. It's got a reference, obviously one of the characters is a horror movie maker, so it sounds like it's going to be a lot of cool horror tropes and nods to horror. It's got the whole classic thing that I call like the Goosebumps thing, where someone's been sent off to live in their house. Housemate just went past. Someone's been sent off to like live in a relative's house, and it's a really creepy area. I think this is going to be a really great nod to kind of all the horror tropes that I love. Next we have another horror. I promise this list is not just all horror. This one came out on the 12th of July. I actually have an arc of it, but I've not read it yet, and that is Size Zero by Abigail Mangin. So this is kind of a thriller thing, I think, to be fair, more than a horror perhaps. But all I know about this book is that it starts with a model walking down the catwalk wearing a coat made of human skin, and specifically the human skin of someone who went missing a long time ago. That's like the bit of the blurb that caught my attention. That's the bit I'm really intrigued by. I think it's got a lot to say about like the fashion industry and kind of luxury products based off people, like made from people. I think that's a really cool concept, and it could go in really great directions with that. The next came out on the 14th of July. This is another horror, and it is The Glare by Margot Harrison. So this is a young adult one. This is about a girl who's raised to she's raised basically without technology and kind of raised to be afraid of technology. And then she moves house, I think, again, or goes to live with her dad, and her dad allows her to have technology. And she basically starts researching this old dark web game. And apparently, like, if people play the game, if they reach a certain level, they'll die in real life. And she starts playing the game. Don't know much else about it. I know Rachel from the Shades of Orange didn't like this very much, but I'm still quite excited for it. I'll link Rachel's review down below, but I think this has some potentially good elements. I like the idea of an evil video game, and hopefully when I get the chance to read it, I will really enjoy it. Next one also came out on the 14th of July, and that is Ghostwood Song. This is by Erica Waters. This is also kind of a horror book. Maybe this list is all horror. This is about a girl who has inherited her father's ability to play a fiddle and raise ghosts with that fiddle. And she's forced to raise some ghosts when her brother is accused of murder. That's all I kind of know about it. I think it's got like a gothic fantasy vibe. You can tell from the cover it's really gorgeous. More than like, I guess, a horror-y vibe. But yeah, I think this sounds really interesting. I've not actually heard anyone who's read this yet, so if you've read this, let me know what you thought. The next one came out on the 21st. It is another horror, and that is Malorie by Josh Malerman. I've actually read this as well. I got an audiobook arc from NetGalley. I really, really liked this. It's the sequel to Bird Box, so I can't say too much about the plot, apart from it takes place initially right after the ending of Bird Box, and then it skips forward. There's like a time skip. I thought this took this plot in really interesting directions. I also thought this was painfully relevant to our current times. So with Bird Box, one of the themes is the blindfold. This is something I can talk about without spoiling anything from Bird Box if you haven't read it. And in this book there's a whole stigma around wearing blindfolds and people not wearing blindfolds, and it's very relevant to like the whole mask COVID debate. So I thought that added some interesting angle to the story that the author perhaps wasn't expecting to. But yeah, I really, really like this. There are mixed reviews on it, so don't just take my opinion, but if you liked Bird Box, you might like this, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. We are almost done with July. We have a thriller release for the 28th of July, and that is The Suicide House by Charlie Donlea. This is about a prep school, and at this prep school there was a teacher accused of murdering a bunch of students there, and I believe he was convicted, and now there's a podcast investigating that case, but also there's a specific place on the campus, I believe, where the murders were supposed to be committed, and people keep killing themselves there, supposedly. This has got a lot going on in the blurb, but it's got a lot of cool elements that I like. There's podcasts, there's prep schools, there's mysterious, creepy houses, and this is also another really nice cover. This has got like, yeah, I just like it, it's really beautiful. And the final book for July, also the 28th of July, was The Wife Who Knew Too Much by Michele Campbell. This I actually have an arc of, but I only got it like 2 days ago. I requested it once on NetGalley and got rejected by like the American website, and I requested it on the British one and got approved, so I'm very excited to read this soon. This is a thriller about a woman who was in love with like the school like golden boy, like he was rich prep kind of guy. He broke her heart, and now she's an adult and she meets him again, and his wife dies, so she ends up marrying him. But then in his house after they're married, she finds this diary from his dead wife saying that if she dies, she was murdered by him and our main character, which I think is a really interesting plot element. I really like this author. I read another book by her that I think got mixed reviews, but I really liked it, which was It's Always the Husband. And I think that this is such a great creepy premise. It's going to be really good for the autumn months. We are on August, and we're starting off with a book I've read, which came out on the 4th of August, and that is 8 Detectives by Alex Pavesi. I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. This is a fantastic murder mystery about a old crime author, and he basically published a academic journal about the formula the mathematical formula of detective stories, and he published a bunch of short stories to also like explain the formula, to illustrate it with examples. It never didn't do very well, but now it's like a couple of years later, and this modern publishing company wants to republish the collection. So this woman goes to his house and starts going through his stories with him and talking about them. It's framed, so you get one of his detective stories and then you get the characters discussing it, and it's told throughout that, and it's just fantastic. It's a love letter to all things murder mystery. The characterization's really good. I was really creeped out by this in a great way. I was genuinely scared. I was so invested in the story, and I was not disappointed by anything that happened. I thought it had some really cool moments in it. I don't really want to say anything more about it, apart from one of the short stories is a love letter to And Then There Were None, which is my favourite murder mystery book, and it was fantastic, and really, really good. And yeah, you should definitely pick this up if you like murder mysteries, because I'm a huge Agatha Christie fan, and this just hit all the right spots for me. The next book came out on the 5th of August. I have an arc of it, I have not read it yet, and that is Murder in the Movies by David Thompson. This is a non-fiction book about basically how murder is shown in movies and what that has, like the implications that has on our morality systems. I think that sounds like a really interesting concept, and I'm a big fan of like non-fiction movie books, so I think this will be a really interesting read. Next, on the 11th of August, we have Cut Off by Adrianne Finlay. This, I'm not sure if this is more sci-fi or horror-y, but this is about a group of teens who apply to be on this wilderness TV show, and the idea is that the last one who survives the TV show, in terms of like they can tap out and leave the TV show, and the last one left standing wins a bunch of money. However, when the TV show starts and they try to tap out, they find out that none of them can leave, and the reality show is a lot more deadly than they thought it would be. I've already mentioned I love reality show books. I especially like reality show horror books, and I think this has the potential to be really, really great. On the 20th of August we have a thriller, and it is The Nothing Man by Catherine Ryan Howard. I don't think I actually have an arc for this, I'm pretty sure I was rejected for it. But this is about a woman who, I believe her whole family was murdered by this man. She's written a true crime memoir about the last 10 years she spent trying to find her family's killer. And it sounds like it's told in dual perspective, with the other perspective being the killer reading this true crime memoir and realising how close this woman is to actually finding out his identity. I think that sounds really cool. I'm a big fan of cat and mouse games when they don't involve police, and this sounds like it's got a really cool element with the writing the true crime memoir. I think that's a really great idea and a great starting point for a thriller. Next, on the 20th of August we have another romance, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have an arc of this, not read it yet, and this is becoming a pattern, but I know a lot of people who have read this book, and I think it's gotten glowing reviews so far. So this is about two authors who are both best-selling authors, and they both go to the same beach resort to they're supposed to write their next book. And they meet each other and they make a bet, but they have to swap genres. So I'm not sure what the two genres are involved, but they're basically writing in each other's genre, trying to finish the book and get it published first, I believe. I think this sounds like it's going to be a really cute romance. I love books about writing, and probably a great read for the end of summer. And the final book for August just came out on the 25th, and that is Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare. Sorry if I pronounced that surname wrong. This I really wanted an arc of and did not get it, but I've seen it all over my Twitter since it got released. This is a horror book basically about I think it's set in the past, and there is like a small town, and this clown decides that the kids of today just aren't good enough, and he's going to murder them all to solve the problems of the town. And yeah, it's just creepy classic slasher horror. Should be great, hopefully. On to September books now. This is the other one by that author that was translated, and that is Fright Night. So this comes out on the 1st of September. This is about a group of teens who go to a forest to spend the night. Blurb refers to something called Fright Night, which I'm not familiar with, but I'm guessing is some kind of urban legend thing, and horror stuff happens while they're staying in the woods. On the 3rd of September we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a beautiful cover. I'd not seen this cover before. I have an arc of this. This is a young adult thriller kind of thing, I think, about a girl who out of nowhere just inherits a billionaire's fortune. She just gets left his entire fortune and she doesn't know why, no one knows why, and then the family obviously aren't very happy about this, and it's like apparently there's like a bunch of games going on. It's compared to Knives Out, which I adore, and I'm hoping for similar kind of vibes to that, so I think this has the potential again to be really, really great if it is like that. Next on the 3rd we have The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Oseman. This I'm mostly excited about because of the author. This is about a group of old women who solve a murder in their town. Like they have like a murder club and then a real murder happens and they're roped in to solve the murder. I have an arc of this, not read it yet, but I love this cover as well. I think it's really eye-catching. Next up we have an arc I've not read yet. This comes out on the 8th of September and that's These Vengeful Hearts by Catherine Lauren. So this is about I think it's like a prep school again. It's some kind of secondary school, and in this school there's a secret society. And our main character, her sister died because of the society, so she decides to join the society and take it down from the inside. I think that's a really cool concept. This cover is just gorgeous. There's a lot of really nice covers coming up, and it's got, again, a whole bunch. I love revenge stories, particularly like young adult revenge stories, and I'm hoping this will be great. I actually missed out once, and one that came out comes out on the 3rd of September is After the Silence by Louise O'Neill. Louise O'Neill's one of my favourite authors, and this is her attempt at the thriller genre, I believe, which sounds amazing to me. She normally writes like very feminist, very kind of intense books. This is about a woman who went missing on an island, and apparently the people on the island know what happened, but they all just refuse to talk about it. And now, in the present day, a documentary is trying to uncover what actually happened to her. I would read anything by Louise O'Neill, and I think this is going to be great. I should be reading this soon, so keep an eye out for my review. So back to the 8th of September now, we have The Ghost Tree by Christina Henry. This is on my September TBR as well. This is another author I love. This is a horror book about a girl who goes to a town and people are going missing in the town, and then there's also like something weird going on, like people seem to not care that people are going missing, kind of like It vibes, in that sense that there's something in the town that no one wants to talk about. I love Christina Henry's writing, and I'm really, really excited to see something from her that's not like based on a real story, at least as far as I'm aware. Maybe this is, but it's not one I'm particularly familiar with, and I think this will be really cool. The next book comes out on the 15th of September, and that is Horrid by Katrina, Leno. I don't know anything really about this. This has been on my TBR for so long. Apart from that, it's about a girl who's obsessed with like creepy books like Stephen King and that kind of thing. And then she goes to her mother, or she moves somewhere with her mother. So she's in a new house, and then in this house she finds like a whole secret bedroom. And that's kind of all the blurb says. I'm mostly intrigued about this for like the creepy aspects, and because the girl seems to love Stephen King and Agatha Christie, which are the things that I love. So I'm hoping this will be good. I'm looking forward to learning more about it when it actually comes out. The next book comes out on the 17th of September, and that is Love, Frankie by Jacqueline Wilson. This is like middle grade, young kids kind of book. Not young, but like, I don't know, 10 maybe. I used to be obsessed with Jacqueline Wilson, and I will still reread her books sometimes for like the comfort. And she tackles really tough topics really well, and this is about a girl realising she's gay, and Jacqueline Wilson recently came out as queer, so I'm super happy that she's finally tackling this issue. I think it'll be really simplistic in the way it's tackled, but I still think it's important, and I would love to read it. On the 22nd of September we have another thriller, and that is To Tell You the Truth by Gilly Macmillan. So this is about a woman who's a best-selling author, and her husband goes missing. The problem is that when she was younger her brother went missing, and she lied a lot about it, so this is meant to be her kind of confessing the truth to you, the reader, about what happened with her brother, what happened with her husband. It sounds like it's going to be one of those really cool, twisty thrillers that you don't really know where it's going, and I think I'm going to really enjoy it. On the 29th of September we have another thriller, and that is The Three Mrs. Wrights by Linda Keir. all I know about this book is that it's about 3 women who share the same husband, and that is a great premise for a thriller. There's a lot of books that came out this year that have that kind of polyamory thriller aspect, and I'm hoping this will be one of the better ones, so that's all I know about the plot. We'll see if there's anything more to it. And finally, on the 29th of September, we have Shine by Jessica Jung. This is about a girl in a K-pop band and kind of like what she has to do to be successful, and I believe it's written by someone who was in a K-pop band, so I'm really excited to have it's like a young adult contemporary, to have kind of that insider perspective to this book, and I think I might really enjoy it. It's got like the kind of fame, and it's not quite reality TV, but it's a similar kind of vein of like people in the limelight that I really enjoy. And there's one more book that I forgot. It came out in July on the 9th, and I can't believe I forgot it, but it was Loveless by Alice Oseman. I have this book. I read this book literally almost entirely in one sitting. I stayed up till like 4 AM reading it. It's a 5-star read. I'll probably gush way more about it in my latest video because this one's getting quite long, but it's about a girl realising she's asexual at university and aromantic, and it is amazing. It's great. It's a young adult contemporary. It'll break your heart. It'll put it back together. It's the book I wish I had when I was younger. Yeah, so that is all of the books. Let me know what you're excited for. If I've missed any things you think that I will really like, please do tell me. Let me know which ones of these you think sound cool or might be adding to your TBR. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, it helps me out massively, and I hope to see you next time.